because this involves a minor and is part of an active police investigation, there are strict legal protections in place, both around student privacy and law enforcement processes. This means we cannot speak to the identity of the student involved or the specific disciplinary steps being taken. We also cannot speak of any details that might impede Rolling Meadows PD's active police investigation. I fully understand how frustrating that is, but our obligation is to follow these laws, and that is critical and must be upheld without exception. So what we can share, here is what we are able to share. School staff were prompted to engage the student in a separate and unrelated disciplinary matter yesterday at approximately 2:30 p.m. This disciplinary matter eventually led to a search of the student's belongings by a school administrator. The firearm was discovered during this search, and the SRO, our school resource officer, was called immediately. No other weapons were found with the student or in the school building, where Rolling Meadows PD conducted a thorough search that evening. No threat was made, and the weapon remained in the student's backpack, as far as we know. The student was taken into police custody yesterday and prompted the thorough police investigation that is still underway. A lockdown of Plum Grove was not called by the school due to the weapon's immediate confiscation and that it took place after school hours. This is in alignment with our security protocols as a district. Principal Rivera, Dr. Hines, and other administrators, Rolling Meadows PD and the district's legal team were in immediate communication and coordination for the district's response. Additionally, the Board of Education was notified about the incident, and I remained in communication with Dr. Hines until late last night and throughout the day today. Since the incident, Rolling Meadows PD has sent out 2 press releases. From the district side, initial communication was shared with Plum Grove Middle School families at about 7 p.m. last night. As soon as we received word from Rolling Meadows PD that they were far enough along in their investigation that we could communicate initial facts about the incident. Discussions with Rolling Meadows PD and our attorneys continued through the evening, and we were able to communicate additional information to families late yesterday evening. The district team and Plum Grove leaders also met late into the evening last night to ensure a plan was in place this morning to support students and staff. Finally, the student involved did not attend school today and will not be present during the investigation. So looking ahead, a communication with the details that we have shared tonight will be sent to families via email by the district either late tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. According to Dr. Hines, building and district leaders will be meeting to debrief the incident, reflect on what went well, and identify ways we can strengthen our communication and safety practices moving forward. This is a common occurrence in the district after any major incident to help our team learn and grow in our safety response and practices. Additionally, on September 19th, our district safety committee, made up of administrators and representatives from local police and fire departments, will meet to discuss the regular agenda items as well as the Plum Grove situation. The group will review our response protocols and determine what adjustments should be made for any future situation involving a weapon at school. Based on findings from the police will determine how to proceed through their investigation. Once they've done so, disciplinary action will be taken in accordance with Board Policy 7:190 under the weapons section. This includes potential expulsion up to 2 years. We know families have questions and concerns. If you're a Plum Grove Middle School parent or guardian and you have concerns, we encourage you to reach out directly to Principal Rivera. She and her team are responding to questions as quickly and clearly as they can in coordination with district administration and our attorney. We have received feedback about communication from the district, some of which will be incorporated into that reflection and review process I mentioned earlier, and that we will be able to then address, some of which the district cannot address due to the legal reasons shared previously. We ask that you please refrain refrain from sharing or resharing rumors on social media, as this creates misinformation and is stoking an additional level of fear. Finally, I want to say thank you to Principal Rivera and the Plum Grove Middle School staff, Dr. Hines and district staff involved, and certainly the Rolling Meadows Police Department for their, thank you, for your swift response and coordination. I also want to thank Plum Grove families who reached out to share their questions, concerns, and feedback with us. It is deeply meaningful. As a district, we remain committed to creating safe, welcoming schools for every child, every day, and continuously improving where needed. We thank you for your trust and partnership in that work. We are in complicated times, and this incident, the news of today's shooting, and recent church shooting in Minnesota only re-emphasize the importance of this work together to create a safe community for each other and for our children. Thank you. All right. Pledge of Allegiance from Thomas Jefferson Middle School.
Good evening, President Ader, members of the Board of Education, and Superintendent Dr. Hines. My name is Tamara Byrne. I'm the proud principal at Thomas Jefferson Middle School. And tonight we are excited to provide a glimpse into daily life at Thomas Jefferson Middle School, featuring representatives from 2 of our extracurricular clubs that are open to all students. TJTV, led by Miss Katie Burns, produces our daily morning announcements as well as other special features. Students create content using a variety of tools, including GoPro video and photography, WeVideo, Canva, Google Slides, and music production software. Opportunities are available for all students of all skill levels, both on air and behind the scenes. Also, ASL Club, led by Miss Beth Mackins, offers students a chance to learn and practice American Sign Language. Activities include introducing themselves, learning colors, numbers, weather, songs, and games. Students have also learned to sign the Pledge of Allegiance, which you will see tonight. The students have prepared a short video to share with the board and members of the audience, which will then lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance.
TJMS, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It was working and then it cut out, so maybe they produced some other stuff. We are so thankful that you have such a wonderful club at your school, TJTV. I've had the pleasure of seeing it in action. So on behalf of the Board of Education and me, we have a little high five highlighter for each of you to to help keep track of your notes and what you're going to be reporting on. All right, thank you, and thanks for coming tonight. Would you like one as well? All right. Let's everybody come together. We're going to take a couple pictures. Mrs. Anderson will take a few shots. Parents, guardians, whomever would like to take pictures of their kids, come on up. Now's your chance. Great, maybe 2 rows. Thanks again. Thank you.
Student recognition. Wants to go with her big sister.
All right, good evening, President Ader, Superintendent Hines, and the esteemed members of our Board of Education. I'm Emily McFadden. I am the Assistant Superintendent in the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Assessment. I am joined by Stephen Gauss. He is the Director of the Chamber of Commerce for both Palatine and Rolling Meadows, and he is our sponsor for the event we are here to talk about and celebrate our students for tonight. So we are thrilled to celebrate our students from the Young Entrepreneurs Academy, or YEA. It's a transformative program that empowers students to dream big and think like business leaders. The YEA connects students with local mentors and investors who guide them in developing real-world business skills, building confidence, and turning bold ideas into actionable projects that open doors for future possibilities. Over a 20-week journey, these remarkable students collaborated with local business leaders, community partners, and educators to transform their visions into companies that deliver both economic and social impact. Their hard work culminated in an exciting investor panel event modeled after Shark Tank, where these students pitched their businesses to local investors for the chance to launch their ideas into real-life enterprises. So, this month, we are proud to recognize students, 3 students from the 24-25 YEA program who earned top honors at the investor panel event held at Harper College last spring. The first is Aditi. Yeah, you can wait. Aditi was in 7th grade at Plum Grove Middle School and created Made by Heart trinket trays, an artful dish for keys and jewelry. Aditi earned first place and advanced to present at the national level last May. So congratulations. We also have Adia, a 7th grader, also at Plum Grove Middle School, who designed PillPal, a medication reminder app. And not here is Andrew, who is now a 9th grader at Friend High School, former Sunling student who developed Dozy Delights, which were gluten-free and dairy-free cookies. We commend Aditi, Andrew, Adia for their creativity, their hard work, and entrepreneurial spirit. Their accomplishments reflect the best of what our students can do here in District 15 when we help them aim high and achieve higher. So we would like to thank all of our students who participated and our local Chamber of Commerce for their support in this.
Congratulations, and both of your inventions seem to be very practical and something I could actually use. Very nice. It's always good to see you. All right, come on over, take pictures. And do you want to get in, Dr. McFadden? And then family members that want to take a picture, come on up. Thank you.
Very nice. Congratulations. Staff recognition. You guys want to come out this door? Okay. We have our staff recognition of Corinne Jones, our Director of Health Services.
Hello. Excuse me. Good evening, President Ader, members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Hines, and members of the community. My name is Mindy McGuffin. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Student Services and Related Services, and I'm very proud this evening to introduce Corinne Jones, Director of Health Services. The Department of Student Services and Related Services was proud to nominate Corinne Jones for recognition as a staff member who goes above and beyond for her service to the district and for her personal accomplishments as Director of Health Services. In August, Corinne took a national exam containing 4 content areas: health appraisal and nursing process, health promotion, disease prevention, school health practice considerations, and professional responsibility. The exam is so rigorous that according to the National Board of Certified School Nurses website, in 2013, 1,199 examinations were administered and only 847, or 70% of candidates, passed the exam nationally. On August 1st, 2025, Corinne passed the national examination, commensurately demonstrating a high level of education, clinical practice, experience, and knowledge, earning her the achievement of being named a nationally certified school nurse. Earning this credential validates Corinne's skills and knowledge and recognizes her commitment to student and school safety. At the district level, Corinne advanced to her current position of Director of Health Services in November of last year. Since that time, she has distinguished herself as an administrator through her collaborative leadership of the Health Services Department. Corinne is always championing our certified school nurses, and health team who provide skilled care for the health, wellness, and safety of our students, staff, and community. She is resourceful in developing community connections and building supports and relationships to maintain or bring vital programs for vision, dental, and soon-to-be immunization clinics for our students. Her boundless energy, combined with her care and concern for the greater good and benefit of all the students, staff, and community of District 15 each and every day. Corinne, we thank you for your leadership and congratulations on your new credential. We are so proud of you.
Come on over. Sure, I'm going to get a highlighter for you. Yeah, I figured that I was just going to do that. So the 2 of you could take a photo, and then I'm going to have all her nurse pals that I know had lunch today or dinner tonight to come on up for a picture, and then we can do one with her family. So let's have the nurses come on up first. The diehards that stuck around after the pizza party. There was a whole room of them in the ESC. Okay, good. Great. Can we just move forward? Thank you very much. Very nice. Is your family here? Yeah.
Judy, get up there.
addition. Well, Mr. Brandon.
Let's go out that way.
Good evening, President Ada, Superintendent Hines, board members, and members of the public. This evening I bring a very special lady in front of you. This is Dorel Fontegueras. Dorel has been with the school district 45 years. Dorel was born in downtown Chicago, graduated from Taft High School. She got married and she moved to Des Plaines and then eventually to Palatine, where she put both her boys through District 15 schools. One of her boys was in the special needs programs, and when the driver turned up at her house one day, he tried to talk Dorel into being a school bus driver, which she pushed back a little. Okay. 2 days later, he said to her, "I've got you an interview. This is when you have to be there." In those days, training was very, very quick, not like the 2 to 6 weeks we do nowadays. Dorel was given the interview, did 4 hours training, and that was on the 8th of September. Today, the 10th of September, is the 45th year since she has started driving buses. And she's been with us ever since. Dorel started, and she admitted at the time that it was supposed to be a stopgap job for her. She wasn't looking for a full time. And she still says that. She's still looking for that. Dorel has been and continues to be an excellent employee and school bus driver for District 15. She has worked with many administrators, transportation directors, and has seen many drivers come and go within her tenure in the district. She joined transportation, as I say, very reluctantly, but soon found that she took to bus driving relatively easy and has not looked back. And she's now part of the family that surrounds her within the transportation department, and hopefully she'll be here for a few more years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Dorel Fontegueras.
Would like to take a picture? We'd love to take a picture of you for our website. Bramley, do you want to join her?
Yeah.
Great. Can I get you with you holding your certificate, please? Perfect.
Scott wants to take a picture.
Sorry.
And then Scott, do you want to be in a picture with Dorel? Are you sure?
She's got me killed. I only have like 18 years. She's
All right.
I just want to get one for our website. Get in there, Tom. Yeah, get in there, Tom. I guess we'll let you be in there. All right, 1, 2, 3. How do you two know each other? Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Thank you. Okay, so we will now open our meeting for public comment. Public comment is governed by Board Policy 2:230. Please remember, this is not a dialogue between you and the board. If you have a specific issue that requires a response, Superintendent Hines or designee will follow up with you as needed. Please state your name and identify any group that you represent. Please limit your remarks to no more than 3 minutes. If someone has previously articulated something with which you agree, please state that you agree rather than reiterating the entire comment. We encourage you to avoid comments specific to any person, student, or staff member, respecting their right to privacy. This is not the forum to comment on personnel issues. Finally, the board expects and appreciates mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct throughout the meeting. All right, Luis Gutierrez.
Good evening, board. This is my third time speaking in front of the board, and in previous statements I know I spoke passionately and energetically towards the board. I wanted to take a second and personally come in lieu and despite yesterday's events to thank you to the board members, Dr. Lazor and Mrs. Urbanski. On behalf of the Gutierrez family, I want to thank you for approving our son's transfer to the Plum Grove school district so that he could continue his dual language program. He absolutely loves it there. This opportunity allows him to stay on path that we started many, many years ago. I've never seen a kid more excited to go to school. So I'm grateful and appreciative. In lieu of yesterday's events, I am a person that believes that actions have consequences, and severe action should have severe consequences. And I know that we're going to hear a lot of statements today from the police, and we're not going to spread rumors, but my suggestion is immediate expulsion. You are lucky that a student isn't dead. And I understand that there was an aggression, and I understand that the weapon wasn't shown. I think we're all very lucky. I am a proponent and an advocate of the Second Amendment. As an immigrant, I believe in it. But there are reasons why minors aren't allowed to do things. And I call for his expulsion, regardless of what the investigation states. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, Joyce Slavic.
Hello. My name is Joyce Slavic. I'm a parent of graduates in the district, and my topic is gun violence prevention. According to CNN's analysis of events reported by the Gun Violence Archive, Education Week, and Everytown for Gun Safety, there have been 47 school shootings in the United States so far this year, as of September 10th, and probably does not include the 2 today. 24 were on college campuses, 23 were on K-12 school grounds. The incidents left 19 people dead and at least 77 other victims injured, and trauma across the board. To bring this close to home, of course, there was the report of a student at Plum Grove Middle School caught bringing his gun to school. That's the school where my kids went. What we often hear after a shooting is, I didn't think it could happen here, but it happens everywhere. It could have happened in our district this week. The good news is we can and are doing something about it in our school district to educate the public about safe gun storage, and I cannot thank you enough. I greatly appreciate that the district has created a page on gun safety as part of the district website. I am thankful that Be Smart is included as a resource, as well as where to obtain free gun locks. There is a new law, a new safe gun storage law that was signed into law in July and requires gun owners to secure their firearms in a locked container to prevent access by minors, at-risk individuals, or prohibited persons. The new law requires the locked containers, but aside from the law, we want adults to understand their ability and their responsibility to prevent gun deaths. My ask is that there is communication pushed out again to parents and guardians with information on the importance of safe gun storage. Safe gun storage is the law for homes that have children under 18 and present in the home. It's great to have that information there, but we need to make sure that people are likely that they're going to see it, especially now that we have a new school year and many new families. Guns are the #1 cause of death for children, surpassing even car accidents. 4.6 million American children live in homes with at least one gun that is loaded and unlocked. 50% of gun owners have at least one gun that is not secured, and 76% of firearms used in school violence were obtained from the home of a friend or close relative. Suicide attempts with guns are almost always lethal, and I would say that the adults need to be held responsible. They are the ones who should be locking up those guns. There's no responsibility for the school board to make sure parents lock up their guns. This is an opportunity to get gun owners and non-gun owners to recognize the lethal risk of unsecured guns. Safe gun storage saves lives. Thank you for your service and for considering this very important topic, and please push it out in the newsletters. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce. All right, Jane Van.
I will be very brief. What brought me here this evening was seeing comments on Facebook and other associated groups regarding what happened yesterday with a gun in the possession of, being possessed by a student. I saw a lot of frustration from parents directed toward the teachers, the principal, our superintendent. What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do? Our kids aren't safe. I'm afraid to send my kid to school, and on and on and on. My personal belief is your frustrations, rightfully so frustrated, but those frustrations need to be directed to your state and federal legislators, not your teachers, not your principals, not your superintendents. As we saw yesterday, they did a phenomenal job of stepping in when they knew they had a child that needed to be addressed immediately. And they did it, and there was no terrible incident afterwards. The gun issue in this country can only be resolved, my personal belief, based on nothing else, when the adults that own the guns take full responsibility for what happens with that gun that they purchased. I understand there are many children who somehow get a gun through the black market, through gangs, through whatever. That's not the parent that I'm directing it. I'm directing it to the parent that purchases a gun, has it in their house, and as this other woman just said, doesn't have it locked up. I want people to direct their frustrations not at those on the front lines, whether it's teachers, nurses. The people you need to direct your frustration to are your state and federal legislators. Let them know what you will no longer accept.
Thank you, Jane. All right, any other green sheets in the audience? Okay. All right. We will now move into our tentative budget public hearing. So, public comments for the FY26 tentative budget public hearing will also be conducted in accordance with Policy Manual Section 2:230. Any pink sheets? No pink sheets. Okay.
There's one slide. Keep going.
Next slide.
Thank you.
So, say, good evening, President Nader, members of the board, and
Hold on,
Superintendent
Diana.
Hines.
Sorry,
Sure,
we
go
gotta
ahead.
close
Yep,
public.
okay,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I move to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene in open session.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right. All right, so now do you want to go to straight to superintendent's report, or you want to go down to 7.1? Okay. All right, we're gonna move to 7.1, our FY26 budget. Now you can hear me?
This is the hearing.
You're gonna have the
You have to have the hearing first.
We have to have a formal public hearing.
Oh, I thought we just did. Yeah, that's what we just did.
That's the pink paper. You're gonna, you're called to order. There were were no pink papers.
Well, we
so
still
now
need to
you
have a
to do your
hearing.
presentation.
You need to call to order and open the public hearing.
Oh, and
Oh, because we didn't call.
And then
oh, so it goes after. Okay, got it. Okay, sorry.
So we just take a step.
Okay,
Okay, we're good.
now
We gotta do
you
it.
go and do the public.
we're ready? Sorry. Okay, next slide. Thank you. So this is just a formality. Every year, ISB requires there to be a hearing, which opens up to public comments or input. It is, personally, it's kind of an odd order. Because later this evening, we will present the final budget, which is different than the tentative budget. But this budget has been on display, meaning that anybody could have come into the ESC. We published a notice, and you could see all our numbers and all of our beautiful accounting work. And if you had any questions, this was a formal opportunity to ask at it. I will just say, since this is the moment, the tentative budget is a provisional budget. It is not the certain budget, as certain as we can get. Tonight we'll present the final budget, and that is our best estimate, as we'll talk about. And that from May to the end of August, when we do finalize that final budget, there's a lot of activity that goes on, and that is all reflected in the final budget tonight. The tentative budget did have a tentative deficit of almost $2 million. Our final budget tonight is a figure lower than that, which we're very happy at least to have made some financial progress in that realm. So if there's no other questions about the tentative budget, that is all I was going to present.
No. Okay, so can we have a motion to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene in open session?
I move to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene in open session.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Yeah. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Sorry, first time doing that. All right. Now we can move. Are you sure you don't want to move this side? Don't want to. Okay, let's do superintendent. All right, we'll move to
I'm gonna let you
superintendent's
go.
report.
Okay. All right, so as I do every month, I share with the board and the community what the district has been up to since our last Board of Education meeting. So our school visits continue to happen, and they're amazing. Wonderful things are happening because of the staff and students that we have in our schools. It's been very exciting to visit schools. As Diana said, and you'll see in greater detail when they present again, budget reduction planning and presentation development has been underway. My second year of Catch Up with Heinz is underway as well. My first meeting was with a group of Hawaiians, and they were a lively bunch. They really are looking to partner with District 15. They have volunteers, and they're excited to help us, with some of our initiatives. So I'm very thankful that they had me to their meeting at Emmett's, and I look forward to additional time in the community. This year we're putting a little different spin on Catch Up with Heinz. Instead of having people come to events that we set up, we're looking to go out into the community where there are existing events and clubs that are already in progress, are meeting, and that will have me on the agenda. We're providing an update and also just taking a lot of questions from these local organizations about what's happening in the district. Last year, you recall, we wrote a Discover 15, so it was an inaugural magazine. This year, we're going to be putting together an annual report. It's under construction, and it'll give the community an update in terms of what the district has been doing on an annual basis. And Mindy, Renee, and I had the pleasure last night of meeting the new early childhood director. We had a dinner meeting, very productive dinner meeting. We shared a lot of exciting information about early childhood and what's been going on in the district, and some of our visioning and dreams for early childhood, our 3- and 4-year-olds moving into the future. So we look forward to continued partnership with the new director. Wanted to give some fall tryout data because, as you know, we've expanded some of our teams based on school size and feedback that we received from the community. Thank you to Dr. McFadden and Mrs. Powell, or Mrs. Crawford rather, for putting the tryout data together. So for the 2025-2026 fall sports tryout window, we had a nice showing of boys interested in fall soccer. At Carl Sandburg, we had 57 folks try out, young men try out. Plum Grove had 118 students try out. TJ had 68, Winston had 97, and Sunling had 54 students try out. A total of almost 400 athletes interested in soccer. That was pretty tremendous. And then in terms of girls in the fall sport, it's basketball season for our female athletes. Carl Sandburg had 27 students try out. Plum Grove had 62. TJ had 58. Winston had 34. Sunling had 27. So just over 200 girls tried out for basketball. Some of our schools were able to field as many teams as were available to them based on their school size. Some did not have enough to field the full and enhanced sections that we provided or offered for this school year. So we're excited to see how the teams progress throughout the fall season. Transportation, as we always do, we're trying to keep the board and the community apprised of where we are in terms of drivers, and we honored a wonderful driver tonight, who we hope never retires, but after 45 years, we hope she has many, many more. The first weeks are underway. We had a few bumps, so we appreciate everyone's patience and understanding as new students were on new routes, as new drivers were on new routes. And we dealt with a lot of construction and delays on 53, which continues to delay, especially Virginia Lake students getting to school on time. But we thank you again for your patience. The Transportation Department also deserves a major thank you because they received over 1,200 change requests for routes. And sometimes it was a request of just a few doors. Can we move the staff down a few doors? But some of the other requests were quite significant and took time. It's why we are a little slow with paid transportation. We have to make sure that our routes are settled before we take on any additional riders. We also, because of these changes, we're managing capacity. So if routes are changed, they're going on a different route, we have to make sure that there's room for everybody that's within that geographic area that's eligible for transportation. And then we really move through the process from there. So it takes time. We usually have a 2-week freeze, letting the bus drivers and kids and parents get used to the routes and the times and whatnot. But they have worked, and I think they're down below 400. Is that correct, Tom?
Actually below 200.
Below 200. So while they're really just moving along. So thank you again. As Tom said, though, we're still short drivers. Our current driver numbers are 88. We have 2 in training, and we really want to have around 110 total drivers to cover the routes fully without having to double up, to make sure that we have extra drivers for, again, those that call in, because that continues to be, something that we monitor and makes transportation on time pickup and drop off challenging. So an update from the Administrative Services Department, supported a lot, spent a lot of time in transportation. Mentored training for new staff was something on the to-do list, and finished up all goal setting meetings with principals. And both Dr. Lazor and I have started principal observations and evaluations, which are an exciting part of both of our to-do lists. Business and operations has been busy finalizing the changes to FY26 budget. You'll hear about that tonight. There is our new auditors are on site completing the FY24 audit. They're wrapping up summer construction. Remember, we did $11 million worth of work, and they're processing invoices for that work. And they're rolling out electronic timesheets at 4 schools. The communication department hired and onboarded our new assistant director, Emily, who is here taking pictures. She's at the back. Hi, Emily. And they're launching Student Square. We have Parent Square available, and we're working on some kinks with Parent Square, both at the classroom level and for parents. But we hope to launch Student Square as a tool that teachers can use should they choose to do so. And we continue to update the parent handbook as well as the website for our 23 different websites. Photos, updated content, you name it, they're trying to keep it up to date. Next up, educational services. They strengthen the behavior supports with full-day training for more than 500 SPUS staff. That's one of our 5 unions. They've supported kindergarten adjustments with new expectation-focused lessons. Expanded free after-school access through the Boys and Girls Clubs at the 4 sites in which we offer that support. And enhanced student advocacy with ALAP training. That's our alternate learning program at 8 schools. And the ALAP program helps us work on our attendance initiative for children who are reluctant or more inclined chronically absent. So they're a nice resource for our staff and families. In the Human Resource Department, they're conducting a comprehensive review of enrollment to finalize the staffing allocations for the 2025-2020 school year. They're updating the evaluation data in our digital platform in preparation for the school year. And then they're finalizing 10-month employee salary data for our first payroll run. Additionally, Human Resources is really helping us look at staffing allocations as we move and start planning for the next school year, especially as it links to the budget. The multilingual program achieved gold, which is the highest circle of quality in our 3 new PFAE bilingual early childhood classrooms following last year's ISB monitoring visit. Year 1, 3 classrooms, that is an unbelievable feat, so congratulations. They sent parent notification letters regarding ESL and bilingual services to its eligible students. They're hosting a BPAC welcome back picnic, as they always do. This one will be held on Saturday, September 20th at Winston from 10 to 1. All are welcome. And they're forming another cohort for reading specialists, ESL bilingual endorsement, as well as any teachers that are interested in beginning to seek their administrative endorsements. So we're very excited about continuing our Grow Your Own efforts with our staff. Student Services provided PD for ESL and bilingual resource teachers in supporting dually identified self-contained special education students. They completed special education regular and summer term private facility claims with ISB, which is no small feat. Curriculum distribution and professional development planning continues, making sure that our teachers have the resources they need and the training to know how to use them to their fullest, and providing on-site support for new special education teachers. Teaching, Learning, and Assessment did a lot of work, as did all members of Cabinet, with Institute Day, focusing though as a TLA group on learning for all groups of staff. Fall benchmark assessments, MAP and FastBridge, are underway. That's how we know how our students are coming to us in terms of their readiness. Reading specialists and interventionists, they had a kickoff event to review decision-making rationales, refine curricular projects, organize and lead fall primary grade testing. They're also ensuring staff have their curricular resources. There are over 1,000 certified staff members teaching multiple content areas, so that is a lot of moving parts, but we're making sure our teachers have what they need to educate our kids, and they're supporting staff with new curricular resources and how to use them. Last but not least, technology, and I love this picture, pieces. For the continued development of, they're working on the continued development of PowerSchool teacher parent student portal for middle school students, and working out operational processes to go along with our new SIS. That was a massive undertaking, over a year's worth of work. Like anything new, there were some hiccups, but that team is dedicated to really working out the kinks, and I think each day the system just gets better and more familiar to everyone. They're working on the preparation for additional training and professional development support to teachers, administrators, and school staff around all things PowerSchool SIS, and they're planning for teacher and administrator PD in terms of our technology integration work. So that's just a high-level overview of what we've been up to since our last board meeting. Any questions? No? All right, thank you.
Okay. For discussion and informational reports, we'll start with item 7.1, which is the FY26 final budget.
members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Hines. I'm Diana McCluskey, the Chief School Business Official, and this is Anthony Fischota, the Director of Fiscal Services here. And tonight we also have our esteemed friend Elizabeth Hennessy, Managing Director, one of the Managing Directors at Raymond James, and she's going to talk to you early in our presentation about some consequences due to the delay in Cook County tax bills. Tonight we're going to present our final budget. Again, earlier this evening we had a short hearing on the tentative that goes to the budget in June. To the board in June as a preview of what the final may look like. Again, over those between May and the end of August, there's a lot of activity that happens in the district. We finalize hiring. We hear a lot of confirmations over the summer of revenue streams. Especially this summer, we talk some more about grant revenues that were very questionable. So again, we incorporate all this information, and then when we put the final budget together, we make our best forecast of what it's going to fall out like during the year. So again, you hear me say this every time, budgeting is our best estimate of the coming year's revenues and expenditures, and we tend to want to be conservative. We want to be conservative both in revenues and expenditures, try to mitigate any major surprises as we go throughout the year. We make our best educated, conservative guess. We just want to reiterate again, last fiscal year was a unique fiscal year in 25 because we had all the construction from just specifically from moving 15 forward wrapped up a year ago. And we are now into the second year of 4 middle schools here. So again, last year Thomas Jefferson became lost my count. Thomas Jefferson became the middle school, and yes, and all 4 other junior highs became middle. So now we're into the second year of, okay, this is the new norm, right? And again, full day kindergarten. We're in our second year of full day kindergarten. And again, those big 3 pillars that we wanted to achieve with all that construction, the repair and restore of our facilities, we did a lot, and that is still ongoing. And we updated learning spaces, and we improved those student transitions near neighborhood schools. So I think we're gonna we go forward now into year 2. But I just wanted to reiterate that last year set the budget, the expenditures, revenue streams in place for that. So now in year 2, we have those things settled. All right. So the next slide here is about our revenue. So this budget is not, in all the budgets I've presented here, there are not as many major events that went into this budget. The ones that we'll mention are significant, but we didn't have any COVID, we didn't have any ESSER, we didn't have any major construction, so now we're kind of settling back into, I would say the district is kind of settling back into a kind of normal, resetting back to a normal. Well, the biggest news on the revenue front, and you may have heard this if you live, which you all do live in Palatine and you live in Cook County, is you haven't gotten your property tax bill yet. And so once again, Cook County Treasurer's, Assessor's Office, et cetera, they're going through another software conversion, and they just are struggling to get it accomplished. So the tax bills, property tax bills, which are normally mailed out in June probably, were usually due August 1st. So now we're into September and the bills still haven't been mailed out. And I looked on the website today and they still have no conclusive information on when the bills are going out. So Liz and I and Anthony, we talk with our other colleagues, and we'll turn the mic over to Liz in a second. I haven't heard anything, unless you've heard anything. And that is very difficult for school districts, municipalities who rely on a major portion of their income, our property taxes, okay? Now we did this 3 years ago, we had to take out what they call tax anticipation warrants, short-term borrowing, because I believe 3 years ago the bills were due on December 1st. So the cash flow, we pay very close attention to our cash flow, and we have to meet payroll, we have to pay our vendors, and we rely on property taxes. Other revenue streams, great, but 80% or so of our taxes, or our revenues, are property taxes. So I'm going to turn it over to Liz right now, just to give you a little update on what we're going to do. We do need to do some tax anticipation warrants, because again, it looks like we don't know when the bills are coming out.
Thanks, Diana. Yeah, the frustrating thing is we do not know when the county's going to release tax bills. We'll know when they do, but they've been super careful about not letting any information out. So it makes it hard to plan. So Anthony put together a cash flow on the operating funds, the main being the education fund, and we also looked at the bond and interest fund. If taxes don't come till December or January, what we're looking at borrowing is $20 million for the education fund and $5 million for the bond and interest fund. So altogether $25 million. We're going to various banks, getting bids and quotes. We put a term sheet together that'll be out on the street. Tonight on your agenda, you have 2 resolutions. One is authorizing $25 million of tax anticipation warrants. Again, $20 million for the ed fund, $5 million for the bond and interest fund. Because the transportation fund is got some pressure, we're also looking at a loan from the education fund to the transportation fund to provide you over for that. So those are your action items 10.6 and 10.7. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Just want to reiterate the frustration of what this causes, both from this has financial implications on the expense side for us as a district because this revenue is late, and so just reinforcing the frustration that this is for the district.
And then I just want to also highlight one of the items you have up there, which is that the Village of Palatine has paid its TIF money that it's giving back to the district to Cook County. But Cook County has not then transferred that money to the district. So that's noted up there. How much is it that they're hanging on to?
Well, they hang on to about 970. Well, no, probably, I'll speak to that.
Okay, they've been holding on to some money too, so that doesn't help the situation.
Any other questions or comments before the vote tonight?
And then we forego interest income. And I will say Cook County earns some interest income on that TIF money. So, okay, so there are no, like I said, there aren't a whole lot of highlights this year. So this can be really brief. So again, just letting you know, again, the CPI has been trending down. Our levy this December is going to have a 2.9 CPI. So we had 5% 2 years ago. And then just on the TIF, so what's happening with the TIF is in May, the village communicated with me that they did send a check to Cook County for the Rand Road and the Lake Cook TIFs of $975,000. So that was in May, and then early July, they wrote a check, whatever, literally, to Cook County, and that was about $1.4 million for the first distribution for the downtown TIFs. So between $975 and $1.4 million, we're waiting on that. And we did, so last year's actuals in FY25, we had very little TIF surplus flow through from the village. We did recognize some in our last, so that's another thing that, financial results of school districts are affected. We can't, and it's beyond the time of accruing it back. So we'll have kind of a balloon amount, an over amount in 26 most likely.
of 3.8 million. So I think that explains basically that. Rand Road will roll off. So this levy 25 will not include Rand Road. Next year's levy 26, I believe that's when it comes back to us. The TIF expires. So we will see new property on the Rand Road. Next slide, and I've got some more. I'll let that, turn it over to Anthony.
Sure, thank you. EBF funding is funding that we receive from the state. It's kind of the state's main grant that they pay to us. We did see a slight increase from fiscal year 25 to 26, about $500,000. We got up to about $18.5 million. We are still in tier 2 at 80% adequacy. Personal property replacement tax, CPPRT, that has been trending down for the last few fiscal years. There was a state calculation that they paid us. We found out about 2 years ago that the calculation was incorrect, so they were going to start withholding money from us. It wasn't just us, it's all municipalities and school districts statewide. So fiscal year 24, we saw 3.3 million. The high that we saw was right after COVID. About 2022, we were at about 5.5 million. So it's come down significantly. Fiscal year 25, we were at about 2.2 million. And we do see a small little increase for fiscal year 26, up to about 2.5. So we're hoping it's flattened out and everything's corrected, everything's caught up. We're hoping that we do see that about 2.5 million come through for fiscal year 26. Grant and revenues. And we'll go through this more in detail when we see all the financial statements, but for fiscal year 25 to 26, there was a major delay in when we were going to receive the revenues. It took about, like Diana mentioned earlier in the presentation, in June when we presented the tentative, we thought we were not going to be receiving half of the grant money we were going to get. That was coming down from higher up administration. As it turns out, we are receiving all but one of our grants that we received in 25. However, we're at approximately, we're down a little bit, about 10%, which equates to about $1.2 million in total for all of our grant revenues, which we decreased the expenditure side, so dollar for dollar, decreased revenues, decreased expenditures, and going in. Hopefully those grants return in fiscal year 27 and beyond, but we'll take it 1 year at a time. Finally, the only transfer that we have for operating transfers is a $5 million transfer from Operations Fund 20 to Fund 10, our education fund.
Same as last.
Yep, same as last year.
Okay, next slide. Okay, we'll both talk about this one. So,
Sure. So if you recall last year's budget, fiscal year 25, we were having difficulty finding staff for a lot of the related services, sites, OTs, PTs, speech pathologists. So we had to contract out millions of dollars for contracted services. Fortunately, during the year, we were able to rework some of the contract. We are now able to fill most of those contracted positions with our own employees. So we increase salaries and benefits, and we decrease the contracted services. Fortunately, in our benefit, salaries and benefits are not nearly as much as the contracted, so we were able to get more staff than we were on contract, so which is great. We do still have some contracted services in the budget, just for some last target fill positions.
In our final analysis, after shoring up all the salaries and benefits over the summer, we noted there has been a reduction of about 60 full-time equivalent positions. So that was helpful toward reducing our deficit from last year. So yes, there is a realization of 60 less FTE.
Sure. Next bullet mirrors what I said on the previous slide. The grant expenditures decreased to mirror the grant revenues. We're not spending any more money than the grant revenues that we're receiving. This goes for federal and state revenues that we're getting.
And then last few weeks, but I want to emphasize though that when we start the budget process back in March, April, we start meeting in person with department heads, try to get to principals as much as we can. Anybody who has a budget that they are in charge of. throughout the district. And we have been, Anthony especially, and Pepe, our assistant director, we've been repeating that, you know, what a zero-based budget means. Just come to us with what is essentially needed to accomplish your missions. So those budgets have been gradually being reduced for the last couple of years. So a couple weeks ago, we saw that we had some of the adjustments that we had to make over the summer that came clear to us. We needed to meet with everybody again and talk in depth about their budgets and where we could realize some more savings. And we did. People came, assistant superintendents, directors, came to the table, and we made some very hard choices. And all departments reduced their budgets between 5 and some over 15%. And also principal budgets have been, their what we call their purchase services and supplies, they also took a hit of about 10% in those budgets. So overall, that really contributed to where we're going to where we're landing tonight, which we're glad to say at least is a deficit less than what was tentative. Just a few other highlights here. The transportation, Tom did a great job. He found 10 gently used buses from another school district. We got a really good price on those. And 5 of them are special ed buses. And then the other big event we are anticipating this year is the 5 electric buses are still expected to arrive. They're a little delayed, but we should have them on hand, ready to go in January. I usually mention that in these presentations, all the great accomplishments this past summer on our facilities. Again, these projects are paid out of Fund 60, which is not an operating fund. We're still spending down, as Liz can attest, we're still spending down bond proceeds, and she makes sure we stay within those constraints of what we had told, how we sold those bonds, what we're required to do. So I'm not going to go through every one of these, but big to note is the parking lots of schools, 12 schools, HVAC, still much more to come, but 2 schools, CLA and Central Road had some boiler work done. Really, the playgrounds across the district are looking great. Really, I think we've pretty much wrapped up partial playground improvements at this point. And then wood floors, new gym floors. Jane Addams, Plum Grove has a new floor. And then Diaz wanted me to mention sanding and recoating. We don't do that every summer. So 4 schools got that. Big job with the 170 interactive flat panels between technology and custodians. Those were installed. Next slide. Main offices are complete. You'll see every main office, even Pleasant Hill, has some new furniture in the last couple of years. New lockers in Wing A at GMS, partial roof replacements at Virginia Lake and Willow Bend, walk-off carpeting, CLA got some new LVT, and more multi-purpose room flooring, and main gym floor at Lake Louise, and classroom carpet at CLA. CLA is shining. We believe CLA is shining.
And heard from CLA folks tonight, so they'll attest it.
Yeah. So again, all that came out of Fund 60, which we'll show you now when we did get into these financials. So do you want to take this one?
Sure. I believe everyone has
right,
yellow sheet.
Yellow sheet.
We're going to start with the yellow sheet. We're kind of color-coded these, so make it a little easier. This yellow sheet shows final revenues for the budget, fiscal year 26 on the top half, and then expenditures on the bottom half. Just quick, these charts are broken up. The top 6 lines are the operating funds. Those are the main operating funds that we have. Bottom 3 are kind of our contracted debt service payments, capital projects, which vary year to year, and then life safety. We don't have much activity going on currently, so we kind of separate those out. Just keep those separate. So in total, you can see that the operating funds revenues are going up from our unaudited actuals for fiscal year 25 to our final budget for 26, about $4.9 million. In total, all the funds revenues are decreasing about 8.3 million. Again, that's because of property, capital projects, bonds. We're not issuing any bonds in fiscal year 26, so that's what the big difference is there. But it is to see, given all the uncertainty regarding grants revenues, the timing of the property tax revenues, some of the other revenues that we saw we were decreasing. It's good to see that we are having a slight increase in our operating funds, albeit they are mainly from property taxes, from the levy that we have in CPI. But it is still nice to see that there is still some surplus of revenues coming through. Sure. Next slide. Operating budget. So on the flip side, everything that we spend, you can see that our operating funds, we are having an actual decrease of operating spending of about 1.5 million from our unaudited actuals for 25 into our final budget for 26. To have a decrease in expenditures, especially nowadays, is pretty crazy. It's
hard to do.
It's hard to do. And I give a lot of credit to, as I mentioned, the schools, the departments, superintendent, everyone worked the last 2 weeks to try to get this budget down as much as possible to the bare minimum of what is essential, what needs to be done, and it came out to an actual decrease. So I give it up to all the departments and everyone that worked on it. In total, all the funds are down about 29.7. Again, we're not doing nearly as many capital projects anymore. So in just high level comparison, a 4.9 million revenue increase and an operating decrease from year to year. And it's always in the positive direction.
That is the green. Well, no,
You want to keep going? Okay. I'll keep going. So this green sheet compares, and if you have any questions, please stop me along the way. This green sheet compares fiscal year 26 revenues next to expenditures, and again, it's broken up in operating funds and all funds. We look at main operating funds. We are at a 6.4 deficit. It's never great to see the deficit, but if you recall back to a few minutes ago, we had about a $7.2 million deficit at the tentative budget, so we did bring it down about 600,000. So a lot of hard work along the way. All funds deficit is 15.9. Again, that's capital projects not being needed anymore. So it took a lot of work to get to this. Deficit is never good to see, but it is something that it's moving in a positive direction. If you recall fiscal year 25 budget, that was significantly larger. So we are moving in the right direction. Departments work on this fiscal year 26 budget. Next slide is the blue sheet. This is our fund balance sheet. We, as Superintendent Hines mentioned, we are wrapping up our fiscal year 25 audit. Everything is going great. So the left column is our unaudited fund balances for fiscal year 25. Middle column is those surplus deficits that we just saw on the previous sheet. And then second to left column is second from right column is the fiscal year 26 estimated fund balances. We are seeing that decrease because of surplus. The fund balance total calculates out to 24%. Generally speaking, we like to see it at about 25%. With all the cuts that we made, this is as close as we could get to the 25% without significantly impacting any of the schools more directly than any of the students. So it took a lot of work to get this far. Again, no one likes seeing a decrease. We never like seeing it a deficit, but it has come a long way over the last few months and comparing it to last year. Any questions on any of those colored sheets? Budget?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. We know collectively, and Linda and I sit on the finance committee with you guys, that a lot of work has been put in by your team as well as the rest of the staff to try to pull in and get the deficit under control. We knew it was coming with moving 15 forward, and now it's just a matter of getting our arms around it. But I want to thank you for doing all that hard work. And it's a heavy lift, but we'll get there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, there'll be a couple of resolutions at the end. They go to approve for the loan and for the warrants.
The moment the back row has been waiting for.
All right, item 7.2, Ed Services, overview of our restorative practices.
I have to get my props.
You got props. Get ready, everybody.
It's coming back to the cake.
Okay.
She asked when to see it. Remember?
If I was Dr. Solana, I would have taken the opportunity to say, I'm not doing it. All right. President Nader, members of the board, Dr. Hines, thank you. So one of our core responsibilities is not only to teach students to read, write, and whatnot, speak new languages, but also to take accountability for their actions. It's something that we started with tonight. But part of our mission is to build a sense of collective responsibility for each other, but also a sense of personal responsibility for what we do with others. One of the key ways that we are looking to build that further is through a Restorative Practices initiative. Restorative Practices is a strategic way of trying to build community, understanding for each other, but also a sense of personal accountability not only for yourself, but for those around you. We're really looking forward to this. This is a missing piece of our larger behavior support system, which includes MTSS, PBIS, our discipline system, and now we're looking to add another tool that will enhance those items without replacing any of them. Tonight we have 3 components that we are hoping to walk you through. A brief context component to build an understanding of what these are, how they're actually present in many functional businesses. You'll see these things as we talk about the C-suite at a business and how they conduct their meetings and the structure of those, etc., right? Kind of like the way we have it here. We'll go through an experiential piece that we're going to invite you to participate in. And then we'll also be asking a few of our early adopter schools to come forward and talk about some of the things that they've been doing both school-wide, but especially in the classrooms. Some of those students have actually made things, a tool that is present in each of the schools. It's called a talking stick. It's a way of managing meetings. It's very similar to the gavel that Ms. Vader reads, but just a different way of looking at it. But they've made these for each of you, and in true inclusive mindset, we've made 9, since there are 9 people up front, so that everybody gets one of these. I'm going to choose who gets which one. No, I won't. But anyway, it's really interesting. You guys will see. It's very interesting to see the different creativity that the students put into it as they've each made one their own for you. So if we have the remote. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll go the old way. Next slide. Thank you. Oh, one more back. Sorry. Next one. So the 4 people up here with me, of course, are Dr. Swallen, who you know is one of our directors, the Director of Comprehensive Mental Health. You know me, of course, as Tom. We have Dr. Megan Meyer, who is our Trauma Informed Coordinator, and of course we have Dr. Nicole Gavin, who's our Director of Brands and Community. Burroughs. And with that, I stop talking and turn it over to the competent people to lead you through the rest of this. And it's right, that's a guy who passed the stick. Okay. And Dr. Meyer, I think this is now. Oh, Dr.
So we'll start by, we have a little video that is a brief introduction to what restorative practices is, so we'll go ahead and start by watching that.
Our world is changing at a breathtaking pace. Social patterns that have long characterized human life are changing dramatically around the globe, diminishing social bonds within families, schools, workplaces, and communities. But humans are hardwired to connect. Just as we need food, shelter, and clothing, we also need strong and meaningful relationships to thrive. With all this in mind, what is restorative practices? Restorative practices is an emerging social science that studies how to strengthen relationships between individuals and within communities. When put into practice, the effects are profound. In schools, students experience greater safety and sense of belonging, resulting in improved behavior, less bullying, and less violence. In workplaces, leaders facilitate direct communication among staff and address conflict as it arises. The result is higher performance, greater accountability, and effective collaboration. In criminal justice, new options allow victims and offenders, friends and family, to repair the emotional harm caused by crime. Throughout our neighborhoods, restorative practices give regular people more voice in the issues that matter most. In a nutshell, restorative practices is the science of relationships and community. Your individual daily interactions have a big impact on the world around you, at your job, with young people, and throughout your community. How we relate matters. This video was brought to you by the International Institute for Restorative Practices. To learn more, attend our flagship event, Basic Restorative Practices. Enroll in a graduate course, or...
Alright, so hopefully that from the International Institute of Restorative Practices gives a nice overview of what it's about. The best way to think about it is restorative practices is kind of in two buckets. The first and main one, and the one we're really focusing a lot on, is community building and a lot of prevention work. So the idea is that we are engaging in practices that help ensure that everybody in the community feels safe and welcome, included and seen, that they have a voice, and there's ways to do that to promote that kind of culture and community in the building. And that is the first piece. And then within the second piece is more when harm has been done within the community and a way to repair that harm. So a lot of people think that it's the second thing, that when something has happened and you have a way to bring people to repair that, but really it starts with the community and the first prevention part, and that's been a lot of our focus. And this graphic kind of helps show what I'm talking about. So you can see it's like a triangle on its side, that there's green and yellow to red. The green is that preventative work that we're really focusing a lot on right now. And this is where we kind of help with defining what we value. So it goes beyond just expectations. We still have expectations, but it's what do we value as a community, what's important to us, and what's shared. And what does that mean? How is it that we talk to each other in a way that's respectful and caring and kind? And then from there, if things start to happen, conflict starts to happen, or people start to hurt or harm each other in some way, how do we come together to repair that? And that's when it starts to get towards that yellow to red, and the red being the most intensive kind of cases, right? So that's one way to help think about it for today, and what we're really zeroing in on is that idea that everybody in the community is a part of the community, and like together they really build this shared sense of trust, kindness, or whatever it is that they define as their values. Part of the reason why we did this, the video talked about the evidence base of it, but there's two main sources of data that we've been monitoring for a while, which is our attendance data and then our office discipline referral data. And that's what you're seeing up here, and you're seeing it broken down by race and ethnicity on these particular graphs. But the notion is that we recognize that there's still work to be done in these two areas, and restorative practices is one of the more effective ways that you can do this. Why? Because you're creating a sense that every student feels pride in their school, they want to be there, and as a result, they're more likely to come, and then when they're there, they're more likely to follow the values that the school has said that this is who we are. So like when children feel that, they'll engage in those behaviors, which would make both of these get better.
One of the foundational pieces of restorative practices is to build more opportunities for staff and students to connect and build that sense of belonging and build that sense of community within the schools, within their classrooms. And what we found and what we've learned is connection doesn't really happen on its own. And something that I really value about this work as a parent and educator is that a lot of our connection these days happens through technology or through phones, even us as adults. What this brings to our schools is the opportunity for people to connect face to face, interact, and how we do this within our schools. And we're gonna show you how this works tonight is through the use of circles within our schools. So increasing the opportunities for students to connect and staff within our schools, we use circles to do that. Circles can happen at any point during the school day. We're going to do this in a second. At any point in the school day, it can happen for a really quick circle. Circle up to do a little activity, to do some academic lesson. Circle up to do some connection and community building. And in order to really understand what we're talking about, it's important for us to experience it and feel it. So we are inviting you as the board to do a very brief community circle with us, with our team today. Just really brief. We're going to show you what we found, and through training that we've all been through, intensive training, is that you really do have to experience it to understand it, to feel it, and to believe in it. So, but once again, this is a very brief, very quick, nothing too hard, quick circle. And whoever's willing and able, we invite you in to join us in the circle, and we'll model for you what it kind of feels like. It's a quick snippet of what we're trying to do in our schools. So we invite you into the middle.
Do it. Come on, Frank.
You'll get in an actual circle. So I don't know
I feel closer to you all. Well, you physically are.
We don't have to hold hands. Part of the circle is to be in a physical circle with no furniture in between. A lot of the times we're sitting, or students are sitting on the ground or in chairs, but for the sake of today, not moving chairs around, we're standing. You can also stand. And we do have a talking piece, and I'm going to introduce it first, but we welcome you into the circle. We thank you for being brave and open to experiencing this with us tonight. I'm going to first go through the circle agreement, so I'm going to facilitate the circle, so we welcome you to this space. And I'm going to briefly go over, briefly go over the agreements. These are circle agreements that we build with every circle. Students and staff do have voice into these agreements. These are just standard ones that we're going to go over tonight. We always have them visually for you as well. They're also on the slide for those watching. Circle agreements are to respect the talking piece. So in circles, we use a talking piece. It doesn't have to look like this. We have many different types of talking pieces. But talking pieces, whoever has the talking piece, talking stick, is the one talking. So it gives voice to everyone in the circle. It does get passed around, so everyone has that opportunity to share. So we respect that talking piece. One person talks at a time. We speak from the heart and listen from the heart. No judgments made, to be open, to be respectful of different opinions and voices. Trust that you will know what to say. There's always an option to pass, so we always provide that option. If the talking piece comes to you and you don't want to share, you can pass it to the next person. You always have that option to pass. Say just enough, every voice matters. So every voice in a circle is valued and every voice matters. So say just enough that your voice is heard, but we give everyone the chance to talk. And then what is said in circle stays in circle, so confidentiality, which we go over with students. Whatever's said in circle we want to keep here. It's a safe place to share, to talk, to connect with each other. However, if there's a safety concern or something comes up that I need to tell someone, we will then have to do that if there's any safety issues. So we go through that with students as well. And then we offer the opportunity, does anyone have an agreement or something they want to add to tonight's circle? Any agreement you can think of? No? Okay. If you can agree to those things tonight for our brief circle, if you could give me a thumbs in the circle, kind of just showing you agree, you understand. All right. Okay, so we'll open up the circle. I'm going to start with a round. So what a round is I'm going to just pose a question. We'll pass it around. Everyone has a chance to share. So we welcome you to the circle. For the first round, just your name, your role. I know we have some new people who may not know each other very well. Your name, your role in District 15, and your favorite morning drink. What's your favorite morning drink to get you going? So you can take a minute to think.
Morning drink.
Morning drink. We did that. Either or. Good question. Okay, I'll open it up. I'll start. So Megan Meyer, Trauma Informed Coordinator, and my favorite morning drink is Yogi Tea Sweet Tangerine. It's an energy tea.
All right, hi, my name is Laura Swanlin. I'm Director for Comprehensive Mental Health, and green tea is my drink in the morning.
I'm Frank Anarino. I'm the board vice president, and my favorite morning drink would be, I guess, orange juice.
I'm Clara Neff. I'm Lori Executive Assistant and the Board Recording Secretary, and my favorite drink for the morning is black coffee.
I'm Eric Bachman, the newest board member, and my favorite morning drink is coffee with oat milk.
I'm Zubair Khan. I am a board member. My favorite morning drink, Pete's brand coffee, medium roast.
Very specific.
Usually that's my role.
Sponsored by.
I'm Tom Edgar. I'm an assistant superintendent, and my favorite drink, although I never get it, is actually Turkish coffee.
My name is Wenda Hunt, board member. My favorite drink is it's called Muncie juice. It's a lemon that you can find in the Philippines, and it's a smaller. It tastes a little different. Tastes a little bit better than lemonade.
I'm Jim Taylor, I'm board secretary, and my favorite morning drink is coffee with vanilla creamer, usually.
I'm Sam Ader, board president. My favorite morning drink is a double espresso with steamed milk and a little bit of pumpkin spice creamer.
I know, I'm so faithful.
I'm Nicole Morowitz. I am the assistant director of grants, and my favorite drink is more cream than coffee.
We're a good match. Lisa Beth Shupai, board member. My favorite morning drink is coffee with just enough cream to make it cool enough to drink and not burn your tongue.
Hi, I'm Lori Hines. I'm the superintendent. My favorite drink that became my favorite drink during COVID and continues is coffee with sugar-free vanilla creamer.
All right, thank you. We're going to do another round. I just learned that we have a lot of coffee drinkers in this circle. And also something we introduce to students too often, and we didn't do this, is if you agree with something or rings true for you, you can do this as a sign. Just let me know. We're going to do one more round. So this round is just to share one hope or dream you have for this school year. So we're starting off the school year in September, new year. What's one hope or dream you have for District 15 or for yourself for this school year? I'll start again. So one hope I have, and this sounds probably a little cliche, but I really hope and look forward to really moving forward some of these practices in our schools. So I really hope that we push it forward this coming year.
I would say hope is that every child feels excited to go to school and learn something fun and creative this year.
My hope would be that we can get our academic achievement up where we got at least 70% at adequacy there.
My hope that is that all the board meetings can go perfectly great.
My hope and dream is that every student and staff member in the district feels connected and realizes that they're important to the overall.
My hope is that the opportunity gaps and things like that within the schools start continuing to narrow as we go through this year.
My hope is that every student and staff member and parent feels that they are both successful and they belong.
My hope is that every student, staff member comes to school this year feeling safe and ready to learn.
Although I already said I agree, I think it's worth repeating that I want every student to be excited and feel like they had a good time at school and that they belong here.
My hope for the school year is that every student sparks a curiosity and determination to shape the world around them.
My hope is that every student and staff member feels seen, and that I can help support this work moving forward this year.
My hope is that every student feels successful in what they're achieving and feels good about coming to school, enjoys being there, and achieves their own level of success, all at different levels. But if we can close that achievement gap and also close the gaps and opportunities while doing it, we'll be solid.
I agree with Lisa. I hope that every student has access to everything that they need to be fully engaged and successful and grows as a result of their time spent in school.
Thank you for sharing. Lots of really ambitious hopes and positive hopes. So thanks for sharing a lot in common that I just saw. So I'm going to close out the circle with a quote, and this quote is, "When we choose hope, anything is possible." So even though some of our hopes, we carry those hopes with us through the year, and any of it is possible. So thank you for participating in the circle. I told you it was brief, but thank you. We're going to close out the circle, so you can find your way back to your seat. Thank you. Hopefully that gave you just a little taste. So we thank you for being brave and joining us.
That one I need a little more than just,
Hopefully that gave you a little taste. So thank you. Take a minute to get seated. Thank you. Hopefully it gave you a little taste of what a circle can feel like. I mean, I know from my perspective, I feel a little bit more connected to each of you, a little bit more comfortable, speaking with you, and just that we're all at that same, level. We have a lot of things in common. We saw just through that one really brief circle. So that is the whole purpose of those circles, is to build that sense of community, connection, and belonging. And really what we've learned is circles really are everywhere. So from sports huddles to campfires to wedding dances to school, circles really are all around us. It's a really natural way to connect. And so one thing we aim to do with restorative practices is just increase these opportunities for students and staff to connect in circles throughout our schools, and build that connection and that sense of belonging through the use of circles and increasing those use of circles in our schools. They really are all around us in a powerful way to connect. A quick story I'll share, and I know we're going to hear stories from some of our schools that are using these, is I was helping run a circle in one of our buildings a year or two ago when we've been starting to pilot this work. And it was with a group of 5th grade girls, and there was a lot of drama and some social things going on. And we were trying to help repair some of what's been going on. And one student said, when the talking stick came to her, this was a big group, she goes, "I've been wanting to say this for 2 years." And she said it, and she was able to share. So it gave her that voice. So that's something that I think is so important, because that every student has a voice in the circle. So thank you for participating and experiencing it. It is just one piece of restorative practices though, and Dr. Swanland explained this in the video. Circles is just a changing in the way we gather and helping students build that connection, that sense of belonging. There also is a lot to do with changing the way that the language we use with students, using effective language, establishing values in our schools, which you're going to hear from some of our schools doing some of this work. It's very focused on relationship building, those values, bringing the behavior back to the value instead of down to the rule, or up to the value instead of down to the rule. So it's changing how we look at behaviors and how we are connecting that to values. What I really love about it is it's helping students learn about how their behavior impacts others. Students don't learn this on their own unless we are teaching them how their behavior and how their choices are impacting others. So that's another big piece that's important. And it's addressing that those behaviors that do happen. It's addressing not just those that have caused the behavior, but those that are impacted. So it really helps support and repair harm and prevent conflict. And that's really the overall theme, is that when we really focus on this preventative side, we are preventing harm and preventing conflict from happening in our schools. Now we're going to invite, so this is the exciting part, and we're going to hear from 2 of our wonderful schools who are piloting and leading some of us in this work. They're going to share some of their experiences and stories. So we welcome CLA, Able and Reach program, upstairs at CLA that we call it, to down here, as well as Paddock, and some of our teachers as well as their principals are here to talk with you. So thank you to them for being here and for leading us in this work.
Can we help grab some chairs, those of you that are seated, bring CLA some chairs, thank you so much.
I'll get it now.
Yeah, we can look.
Okay.
We're rotating.
I'm going to use this mic. President Ader, Dr. Hines, members of the board, thanks for having us. The floors do look great.
Yes, it's your whole building.
It looks great. It's fantastic. But what we're really excited about is restorative practices, and that's kind of why we're here today. One of the reasons that it's so important at CLA, and the things that we're really looking forward to, is to help us create a sense of value. So I'm joined here by Alyssa Zilchik, sorry, I always say that wrong. Our counselor extraordinaire, Kathy Russman, one of our Reese teachers, and in the back we Christy Lowe, and Tracy Robel, who are all an integral part of establishing restorative practices at CLA. It started last year with some values work. We took a look, we talked to the staff and incorporated student voice into what we wanted the values at CLA to be. And we came up with passion, connection, and perseverance, which we think really kind of exemplifies the skills and the life skills that we're trying to impart upon our students. Restorative practices is the framework for all that we're trying to do, and we've incorporated into pretty much every aspect of the building. And the goal is to really, like Dr. Myers was saying, is to really establish those connections and those relationships. We live in a world right now where kids are more interested in what's going on the screens than they are what's going on in the desk next to them. And we're trying to establish a community and environment where the students feel welcome, they feel safe, they feel that it's okay to be vulnerable with their classmates and really kind of get to know each other on that personal level, because that's how you build that community and that culture. We've noticed so far is that it's already working. It's already building a stronger connection between staff and staff, between staff and students, between students and staff. It's really making an impact on the day-to-day at CLA. It's a safe, welcoming environment where if something does pop up, if there is some sort of conflict, because it's going to happen, the students know that we have a process and a place that we go to kind of talk through it. And we're really seeing some cool things. And we're doing it not just, it's not one of those things we're expecting the kids to just do it, we're doing it as a staff. So all of our staff meetings, all of our program meetings are all done in circles. There's no tables blocking the way. It's everybody in a circle, just like you guys just did, with an intentional opening and a wonderful chant at the end. Christy wants us to do. Might not share that with you. We do personalize all of our gathering agreements. So Able and Reach are two different programs. So we have our Reach gathering agreements and we have our Able gathering agreements. One has a more visual aspect, so we can be more inclusive to the needs of all the students in the school and the program. We have talking sticks all over the place. We have portable talking sticks. We try to incorporate all of restorative practices into our entire day-to-day, and we're really seeing some cool stuff. But enough from me. You want to hear from the people who are ground floor getting it done.
My name is Kathy Russman, and I have an intermediate Reach classroom that is second and third graders this year. And the circles have been, we're early into the school year, and because everybody is involved, the staff is involved. Whenever we have a circle, we're all in that circle, and the students hear staff being vulnerable, talking about when they've made a mistake, or talking about when something has happened to them. And just today, I had a student say, "I never thought about it that way," and so they get to hear it from adults, but then they hear it between themselves. And we have used portable talking pieces when we've had disagreements at lunch, disagreements at recess. Just yesterday, something happened just as they were transitioning from our classroom down to a special, and a program assistant came back with a student and said, "We need to repair and restore before we go into music." And they sat and they talked, and where this could have escalated in other times, where it could have escalated into something bigger, it's not. And the kids are all in. And because it's something that has a structure like this, that they know what's coming every time, they are ready to join in for all of it. So it's really, really encouraging. Thank you.
Alyssa Zelkich, I'm the counselor on the Reach side of our programs. I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to be trained in the foundational and the advanced portion of restorative practices. It's been very inspirational seeing it unfold after being trained. I have the pleasure to be in all the classrooms, so I have participated in multiple classroom circles, invited by teachers, or I just kind of pop in and check out what's going on in the classrooms throughout the day. One way that we do build community As a program, REACH has our own gathering on Fridays where all of our classrooms come in for a big circle at the beginning of the day on Friday. As well, the Able side also does one of those to build that bigger community as a program. And we also have what we call Friday celebration circles, where we bring REACH and Able together, and we have a big circle at the end of the day to close out the week with our celebrations and things that have gone well throughout the school week. One thing that I will say from the mental health perspective is it's such a natural opportunity for our kids to work on those social emotional skills. You know, the taking turns and talking, you know, waiting for your turn, just those natural things that just come from being in a circle and using a tool to mitigate some of those things. I promised some of our staff that I was going to share some stories. We've been in school for 3 weeks, and we've had a student that has passed every time, you know, during their morning and afternoon circles, and this week was the first week that he shared, and the teacher was so excited and so proud that he came out and he shared this milestone with everybody, and just seeing that excitement from him was just tremendous. The portable talking pieces came in. One of our PAs was at lunch, and the students at her table were having a hard time holding a conversation. They were talking over each other, and you know, frustrations were starting to rise up because nobody was listening to anybody. So she took a napkin and pulled it up and turned it into a talking piece and helped mitigate that conversation, and it was so successful. The kids had a great time, and it was such a perfect way for them to connect, feel heard, and it eliminated a stressful situation for them. So I promised her I was going to share that, but she was very excited. So hence we went and we got ourselves some portable talking sticks. But as we're growing, like we said, we're in the beginning of implementing this. I think our students are going to grow significantly in some of those social skills, emotional regulation, and conflict resolution. And I'm happy to be one of the schools that's piloting this for our district.
Both. We wanted to show you some pictures of circles in action. So the big one up top, that's that a boat program celebration circle. We have a circle room where we have all our meetings. We're hoping to get to the point where in the near future where our IEP meetings are even done in circle, to include the parents. And there's a big parent community component to this as well, but we're really at the forefront at the building level, building community there first. But the kids are doing it and they're loving it, and it's really a cool thing. So thanks for having us.
Thank you.
How wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. We are Paddock over here. I'm Jason Chris. I'm the principal of Paddock. With me is Nicole Gavin and Sonia Nilsson. They're two of our 5th grade ATG teachers. They're totally talented and gifted teachers. And so we, kind of replicating a lot of what's been said tonight, have been working on restorative practices at Paddock for the last half year or so. We started at the end of the last year with values, and with a bigger school and a bigger program and whatnot, we really broke it down to one of the core principles of restorative practices, and that is establishing what our school values. So we spent 2 staff meetings, and we went through what each individual staff member values, and they went through this own little activity that they go through and break down 100 different words into just their top 3, and they discuss that with each other, similar to how you guys did in a circle, and kind of understood what each other are feeling a little bit more. Then the next staff meeting we came together and we did that for the school. And we looked and we said, okay, now we know what we value as individuals. What do we value as Paddock School? What is something that, the 3 words that would best represent what we want everyone at our school, every one of our students and staff to feel? And what we came up with was community, kindness, and growth as our 3 values for Paddock. And while the values are very important and it's something that we're going to keep developing, we have a very strong PBIS system at Paddock School. Positive Behavior Intervention Supports, we call them the 3 Bs, be respectful, responsible, and be safe, which every school in our district has some version of that. And one of the points that I made with the staff very early on, we talked about it, and again at Institute Days and over again as we talked about this, is PBIS is not something that is going away. PBIS and values and restorative practices and all the pieces of it run parallel together. They really are, as I think Tom said earlier, it's a missing piece that we don't have currently in our building. Preventative and just the internal aspect, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. that PBIS doesn't necessarily hit, right? PBIS has a lot of expectations. Be respectful. How are you respectful? You use kind words, right? Hands and feet to self. Be safe. Well, hands and feet to self is kind of a directive. You know, we call it an expectation, but it's like hands and feet to self. Don't hit. Sorry. And that's great. We need to have directives. Don't speed, Frank. No, you know, it's like don't do certain things. We all have those expectations, but why? Well, we have little kids in our school, right? Kindergarten to 5th grade, preschool to 5th grade at Paddock. We need to teach that why. We need to teach that internal motivation, that internal piece. Where PBIS hits the external expectations, restorative practices and values to that internal motivation. And that's a skill. That's something that we as adults sometimes need to learn, right? But that's something that we designed, or are determined to teach our students, what we do every day. Not just math, not just reading, right? And that's where restorative practices really comes in, certainly at Paddock School and hopefully for the entire district as we move along. It works right alongside PBIS and the expectations that are in place and embedded and all the reward systems and everything we have in place. That doesn't go away. This runs along parallel with it. And the values, which are on our shirts and are going to be on our walls and we're going to have posters about them and all that kind of stuff, you know, that's only one small piece of restorative practices. That's the beginning drip. And when you get to there, when you get that piece down strong, then we can really focus on the next piece, is the community building, right? The community building that we talked about earlier, the social emotional circles, similar to what you guys experience now. You're going to start developing this common language, this common understanding of, you know, no, I did not keep my hands and feet to self. Okay, well, was that kind? Did that hit our value of kindness? Well, no, it wasn't. Well, now you start to get a feeling, right? Did that really enhance our community? Did that help our community grow? And it's these different words that have a different impact on students and adults when you start to use them effectively. And that's where we're going with Paddock as the year goes on. Spoiler alert. That's where we're going with this, is our professional development and growth. How do we increase our community at Paddock using these aspects of restorative practices? So, you know, it's an additional tool to teach expected behavior. It really focuses on that intrinsic motivation to adhere to the expectations that we already have put into place. You know, we're going to use them in different areas. Certainly right now they're being used in different classroom activities. Some of our academically talented and gifted teachers have actually had an extra year of experience with this prior to last year. We use them in different community circles and just, again, that school-wide messaging as we kind of grow into this initiative. And we will let Ms. Gavin and Ms. Nielsen talk about that.
So jumping in kind of where Mr. Chris left off was the ATG program more than 2 years ago now. Dr. Edgar and Dr. Meyer came to us with the idea of this community circles, and specifically with the intention to address this social emotional needs of our particular group of students. There's lots of anxiety, perfectionism, a lot of high emotions, just different things, asynchronous development. You have a third grader who can understand high school level things, but is still a third grader. So a lot of specific things for our particular program, and they came with the idea of these community circles to make as part of our program. And they worked with us, what we're seeing, what our needs were. They worked with Laura Belchenko, who is amazing, all things gifted, amazing. And we came up with actual prompts, those rounds. We came up with topics specific to our students. We don't do them all the time. They're not always super intense. Sometimes it's, what'd you do over the weekend? You're the more lighthearted, fun ones. But it really helps to start facilitating those conversations. And that's kind of where we started with this community circles.
I'm going to present just a little bit of a backstory. When Dr. Meyer presented this to us 2 years ago, we were at a gifted department meeting, and she was talking about circles. And I'm thinking, okay. I'm a 58-year-old woman who is a daughter of German immigrants, so circles is not in my wheelhouse. We did not have kumbaya moments with my family at all. So I'm I was kind of skeptical. Really? Circles? Okay, okay, I'm a rule follower though. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And to be honest, it was a little clunky at the beginning because the kids didn't know what we were doing. I was certainly a novice, I'm still rather novice-like. By no means an expert, but it was a little clunky. Teachers are really good at like putting on a face like we know what we're doing, and we went for it anyway, you know. And probably that first year, I didn't stick with it as much as I should have. It wasn't like a once a week thing. I got a little more comfortable, but the key was all of us in the department were doing it at least a little bit, so kids kind of knew about it. So last year when we got together at Paddock, and I got the next group of kids who had at least heard of circles before, and probably they had done it a little bit more, they were excited. And then throughout the year, you can see the excitement grow. Ooh, circles, we're doing circles today. Or the disappointment, like we had an assembly or something, and oh, we have to push it back to the afternoon. What? You know, like they really look forward to it. It does build relationships and community and kids looking at each other and taking turns and listening to others and agreeing. That is huge. And the way we've been doing it, so last year it was great. I felt much more comfortable. Kids are looking forward to it. This year, now that we have done it for like a year and a half-ish really, they're leading away. I'm like, how should we close the circle? And somebody's like, oh, let's do the wave. Okay, we do the wave. You know, like they know the parts and they can contribute. Another contribution that they do is we don't really have talking sticks. We call them talking pieces. And I start the year with mine, and then I'm like, if you'd like to bring something from home on your own for us to use, they bring it. They talk about it. It's a little like a show and tell sort of, but you know, it's something that's more important to them. The point of it is it should have some sort of value to you and to others. And then you also, other people have talked about it, you can just use, it doesn't always have to be a big classroom circle. You could have something called little C's, little circles, where they have like a little team that they kind of, like a home team, you know, okay, go with your home team, and you could just have small circles, which intensifies the relationships a little bit more even.
There's still two people. Oh, pictures. That's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Just one more thing, building off of that, talking about Ms. Nilsson kind of alluded to it a little bit, but having that sense of community, especially last year coming to Paddock, we had students coming from all over the school district, and we were new, like it was a big adventure for everybody. But having especially established a little bit of the circles before that, and then having the students be able to come together and share vulnerabilities. In one of my earlier circles last year, we were talking about something about, I don't even remember the prompt, but something about coming together at Paddock. And a student shared just vulnerability that they, with the program, maybe didn't feel good enough, didn't feel like they belonged there, were really afraid to leave all of their friends and leave their community in their 5th grade year, like I was a 5th grade teacher, and come to Paddock to kind of start this 1-year journey and then go off to middle school. And so the fact that they were sharing that was huge, but also like kind of the collective relief of everybody else in that circle. We got a lot of these, and then from then on they were building off of that, and just the power of having that common humanity of I'm not alone, and it really, really helped solidify our community, I think, and continuing on to where we hope to go in the future. That was classroom community, grade level community, program community, but then also being part of the bigger Paddock community. And we have these values now, and we have just, I think it only can get better from here and just continue to grow with that.
And starting as a skeptic, and me in my last year of teaching, I'm retiring this year, coming to a board meeting to talk about it at 9 o'clock at night, you know it's got to mean something. It's got to be big.
They probably didn't leave with the 9 o'clock. They probably forgot to. Yeah.
Within like 10 to 15 minutes, like almost every time.
But that community is huge, coming together and just, one piece, last piece of it, like when you have a community, when you have that feeling, you don't do bad things to people that you like, right? And that's the whole beauty of it. You build that climate and culture, you build that community, and then hopefully that really sets that level for, behavior and expectations. Just a couple pictures we got going on there, a few circles, and our shirt, Community Growth and Kindness, and that is all we have. Thank you so much for your time, guys.
I told you to get better as soon as I stopped talking, right?
Thanks again for coming and staying. We don't have questions for you.
Great point.
She doesn't have a talking stick, she has a cane. Stay seated cane. All right, maybe before we advance, what questions do you have? Yeah. Oh, okay. So I really love this process. I love restorative practices. It's my mantra to talk about community. I believe we can solve the world's problems by that. So I'm just curious, like how challenging is this in terms of costs, in terms of professional development? How are we going to lift all the other schools? Because we are only at the pilot point, but how are we going to get the buy-in to all the other, German teachers that don't want to do it, not that we're profiling.
I can speak to that. Our last slide actually here covers partly what you're asking, son. But we have a larger professional development plan. The real difficulty for the lift is certainly something we can accomplish, but it's pretty intensive training. So we're looking at, for the middle schools this year, dedicating both of our institute days that remain, so 2 full days, so that all teachers at that level have the training that these teachers have actually had, or more, in preparation to begin using that this year, right, and into next. The other part is, I think there are always going to be many staff, like Sonia talked about. Really, if you think about it, like, when you look at like the circle, we were talking, like, how is the board going to, right? How is the board going to take the circle? I know. Why gives you such a hard time? Sorry. No, he's writing down notes.
I'm German and Italian.
The hard part about this, what we're actually talking about, with the circle, is that it seems so insignificant and maybe even a little bit hokey when you do it that one time, right? You're asking people what their favorite morning drink is. You're asking them, about something that they hope for. It seems fairly insignificant, but those things stack up regularly where people become vulnerable and people become friends through that, right? So the purpose, though, is for us to get through that initial feeling of this isn't something necessarily powerful. And the way you do that is not only by providing them with a training that gives them 2 pieces, the theory and the pieces of information about what it is, but time to actually experience it in the training themselves. And then beyond that, having a set of expectations. We have a day coming up where all of our administrators have been through the training thus far. So everyone from cabinet to coordinators have gone through the training, and then we have another day in October where we're doing strategic work with them to plan what it actually will look like in year 1 for their school after the training. So they have goals they can work with their staff on. The other part is, this is enough of a push to get it going. And just like Ms. Nielsen said, sometimes you need just to get it going and see the excitement that we've heard about from the students and how it begins to benefit them in the class. For those who might be looking at it with kind of a weary eye, to really become fully involved. We're very confident that we will have a vast majority of teachers who are really ready and looking forward to doing these things. And I really think those teachers, there always will be some, in any group there will be some who feel maybe this isn't the right match for them, or maybe this isn't something they're sure of. Once they see this and they see their colleagues and they hear from their colleagues around the successes, That is really something that we believe will spur all of us to action. Plus, Ms. Veros, not Gavin, and Dr. Meyer, they've gone through the various levels of restorative practices training so they can be trainers themselves. So we're also building capacity within the district to have continuous coaching beyond just external professional development people helping us during our institute days. So we've really planned for not only the training, but the ongoing support to our administrators and the teachers as they run into the barriers that we know they're going to, that they have a partner now that they can rely on to get them past that.
So for Paddock and CLA, how are you defining success? How are you gathering the data so that you could say to another school and say, Jane Adams, hey, this is what we did. This is what you're gonna try to benchmark. So what are we gonna see data-wise? Because it's not just subjective, right? It's not just we're all happy here in Paddock. What can we tangibly hold on to?
We are happy here at Paddock. There's a couple different answers to that question, and so starting with some of our behavior referrals and the different kind of quantifiable, tangible, like you're saying, majors and minors and whatnot. If the restorative practices that we're rolling out, the way we're rolling it out, like I was sort of alluding to earlier, you don't do mean things to people that you like. There are people part of your community when you feel kindness on part of what we do. Those behaviors are going to reduce, similar to the triangle, sideways triangle that Dr. Swanlin showed. That green behavior, there's that little, like, how is it going over to the yellow? How's it going back to the green? This is going to enhance that behavior where small reminders, small ideas, these concepts are going to reduce any of that more extreme behavior. It will still exist, of course, right? This will not work with every student in any school, but it's going to enhance that. So we're going to see a reduction of that. We also have, as part of our attendance initiative, we're going to see students coming to school more, right? We track our attendance quantifiably every month, take a look, see who's at school, how many kids have been absent more than a few days. And if we can really start layering this in, and again, the values that I was talking about myself, there's a lot more to that, right? And if we can start layering in some of those restorative circles, those different pieces into those students, in particular ones that we identify that might be in the yellow, do we see a positive increase in their behavior and their attendance and that kind of piece there. We're also I'm currently working with a couple of my staff members in developing exactly what you were just describing, like a do you feel happy survey, and just trying to work in like how does this going to lay out. I'm not sure if we're getting where we want to go with it, but how do you get the feel of students, right, and staff for that matter, and then do it now and do it at the end of the year and just kind of see are we still feeling happy? That's kind of the more kumbaya piece of it, but there's certainly quantifiable aspects as well.
Yeah, just to piggyback, therapeutic program, we take data with that for everything. So last year our crisis minutes were high, and that's what we're really kind of hoping that we're going to see quantifiably is we're going to see a reduction in crisis minutes, a reduction of crisis events. We are keeping track of, we're asking the teachers to keep track of how often they're running circles in a class. At the beginning of the year, the expectations was we want you to do one at the beginning of the day and one at the end of the day. Because we wanted to slow roll this thing because it is different, it is a change. We were fortunate enough to get a group of heavy-haired teachers and some of our reluctant skeptics together this summer to put in some of the foundational work and build out the plan and get them involved early. And I think that's going to be the key to some of the success. But we want them to keep track of how many they're doing. Are they doing peace circles? Are they doing restorative circles, celebration circles? And we're hoping to see a reduction in both our crisis minutes and restraints and timeouts as the year goes on. That's the ultimate goal because, as Jason said, you don't do mean things to kids that you like, people that you like. One of our check-ins that we have going on with the staff is a pulse check. We're gonna test their pulse on restorative practices a couple times throughout the year. What that basically is how are things going? How are you feeling supported-wise? Is there anything else that we can do to provide you more support in these areas? Is there anything that the kids still need? It's going to be an ongoing process, and what I really like about it is that it does open the door for conversation with them. So we can have those tough conversations with each other, and make sure that we're rolling this thing out the right way.
Thank you so much. I have more questions at the end, but I'll wait for you to finish.
Just one more thing that we wanted to bring to your attention is the timeline for professional learning that you had mentioned is in November and March, as Dr. Overhood had said. Megan and I have gone through Train of the Trainer, training with Allie Hearn, who is a national speaker and trainer in restorative practices. And so we've done both the foundational training, the 2-day training, and then advanced training, and then also train the trainers. And so because we're in-house now, we're able to provide that training to more staff. And so we're going to do that training with select staff members in November and March. So we're going to have groups of teachers from each school come and do, so those are just some suggestions of people who might come and kind of really give us that bang for our buck. As also mentioned, we did do 2-day training. It was intensive training with Allie on day 1, and then Megan and I led day 2 with our administrators, so we're definitely walking the walk and talking the talk. We're not just bringing this out into the teachers and the schools, and we're actually doing this ourselves. So we did have administrators do that training, and then day 3 she'll also return to kind of talk about sort of leading into the school year next year, what that will look like. So we have our pilot schools who've done an amazing job, but how do we bring that to more schools? So she's going to talk about how implementation looks on day 3 in October with us. So she'll be back to help us kind of what that looks like at each of our schools in their unique situations.
I really think this is a good time for a question.
Yeah. So, do you have any other questions for Jenna? You know, yeah, Jenna, just a general question. This part of what we heard, I want to say maybe 4 years ago or 5 years ago, was the culturally responsive learning, and I thought that was just as great. It actually parallels this in that you have a coaching staff and you have constant training. But I don't feel like after we implemented that program, it took off. I don't know whatever happened. It seemed to dissipate. And it felt like, just like this does, that we were building community and communities within our school. So I'm just hoping and asking that it not be a fad and not just go away. Because we keep trying to start off a new project per se in order to help address social emotional learning within our students. But so I'm asking you guys, how do we ensure that it doesn't fall by the wayside as social emotional or as CLR has?
I think it comes back down to having a multi-year plan, right? Where you have, action steps at each one. So this year is our beginning with the middle schools. Next year we'll be talking about how to better incorporate elementary schools, do that with quality, and also the big part is we're spending time not only preparing everyone as a foundation, right, which is different. In the past we did the cohort model like we did with PBIS, where we had cohorts of teachers who agreed to become leaders and they went through training with CLR and whatnot. We're being much more universal this time. So we have part of that where we have these self-selected people who have shown interest and are going to be leaders and have examples for people, but we're also going to the masses with this, right? And then the other part is, so we have this year for middle schools, we have next year for parts of the elementary, and then possibly the follow-up year for the remainder, along with internal coaching staff. So that's probably the best way. And this woman in the pink here doesn't like fads either, and I can guarantee you that she won't let this rest.
So, but Jason, if you could pass the mic to Sonia and then to Renee about CLR.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. I will suggest that this is a whole lot easier than previous CLR. Because with CLR we had a book and there's all these different activities and it's a lot of work to know how to do all of those different little activities. That's like a whole other curriculum practically, in my opinion. This is just me. This is simple. This is straightforward. Once you learn the simple mechanics of the classroom level, it's it. And then you just carry on. There's nothing new to learn. There's no another little technique. There's no little, you put them in the newsletter every week, but you know, you have to go look up, what is this procedure? Oh, this is how I have to do it. You know, it's too much. If that makes sense. This is so much easier from a teacher point of view.
I appreciate that. I just wanted to know where we landed.
Yeah, I will say that we, and Renee, you can piggyback on this, we do have over 100 teachers still in the cadre. This was the first year that we haven't had CLR coaches dedicated. So Kim and Angel are back in the classroom. And really it is supposed to be, at this point, kind of embedded. But when we launched CHAMPS 3 years ago, we did a multi-year plan with CHAMPS. 12 national trainers came out. There's still 2 or 3 areas of focus each year that are embedded then within our individual school improvement plans. You're setting a reading or a math goal, you're setting a behavior or attendance goal, opportunities to engage. There were all different, targets that we wanted our teachers to, the ability to respond, the 3-to-1, negative to positive, all the different things. So we continue to have that on the front burner. I've talked with Tom about this. PBIS has just been in the district since I was here the first time, since the late 90s, and it is really fairly well institutionalized, and we just need to get to that level. And I think drilling it into each of the schools and making the schools really the drivers of the work versus external people all the time having to be waited to be asked to come into a classroom to help somebody do CLR or another activity versus there's buy-in, there's ownership. It's happening at the classroom level. That's the magic that I think is going to make it really stick.
Yeah, I also don't think it's CLR is lost. I think, when you have to step back and look at a staff and how people morph over time and how their skill set morphs over time, it is not often you get a program like PBIS that lasts forever and ever and ever, because at some point people get bored of it, or it stops being interesting, exciting, it stops being as functionally relevant for students. So things change, but you're foundationally building that skill set. So we have the benefit of a staff that has longevity. People come to D15 and most of them stay, and they stay a long time. So they've received the training, they have the sensitivity, they know the general concept. They may not be utilizing the CLR by the book skill set, but that doesn't change the fact that you've got those skills. So, I think.
I appreciate the insight. Thank you so much for presenting. I love that we get to hear directly from the staff that are actually implementing it, because that's the only way we're gonna, that's the only way my questions are gonna end. I need to hear from you.
I just wanted to say a quick, as an aside, there's obviously the benefit of the immediate, school community, but when we think about where AI is headed and how our world is being transformed before us, like these soft skills, these interactions of how you engage human to human are going to be the most in high demand skills. So I just also think from a buy-in perspective, like this is not just about the culture of our schools, this is also like skill development, preparing our kids for the future. So I'm grateful that we're doing that.
Now I suggest you run.
Thank you so much.
I think she was talking to me. One last thing. So Ms. Gavin's
Oh, I'm sorry. Renee wanted to say something. You guys go. But Renee wanted to say something about CLR. So Jason, if you can pass it and talk to you.
No, I just wanted to affirm that our culturally and linguistically responsive practices do continue in our classrooms. They are embedded in so many of our practices. We've worked cross departments to implement them into our SEL lessons. We do have a cadre, as Dr. Hines mentioned, of over 100 teachers that are committed to being leaders of this work in their building. And it does align so nicely with our restorative practices, because it gets into more the deeper discussion about the why. why? Why do people behave the way they do? Why do people hold certain opinions? And it really helps us understand each other as a community. So I just wanted to reassure the board that those efforts do continue on. We do continue with book studies and leadership in the building. So thank you.
Well said. Miss Gavin's class made these talking sticks, one for each of you up there.
That's the one I wanted.
All we ask is that if it wouldn't be too much, we'd like to get a picture maybe with you guys having these talking sticks so we can just show it to the children. No, I just think it was good maybe if Emily. Could you get a picture of the board with these sticks?
I thought Todd was going to ask us not to hit each other.
Hey,
This is awesome.
years ago, before Dr. Hines, when we had the Department of Instruction and whatnot, I was in it as a director, and there was three of us. We were having a real disagreement. We were talking over each other, and so I pulled out a pen and said, "No one can talk if you don't have it." Right? It's the talking stick. About 3 days later, everybody was sick with the flu. So the lesson learned is, if you use a talking stick, also use hand sanitizer.
Love it.
Okay.
Stand behind Sam.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you. We'll share it with the students. They'll really appreciate it. Miss Gavin's classroom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. Oh, you're good.
I know. You're in the corner, man. You're in the corner.
Thank you.
That is great.
Mine.
Thank you. I think I accidentally put it in the
I got it.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Great job.
So I think we are now on item 8.1, acceptance of minutes. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the minutes from the August 13th, 2025 regular Board of Education and closed session meeting as attached.
Second.
All right, discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Board committee reports, 9.1, Ed Red, Frank.
Grab my stuff here. Okay, so the veto session is the next session for the legislature. That's going to be happening mid-October to the end of October. One of the items I think will come up will be with regards to the Bears property taxes, since they've just recently, on the 8th of September here, put out the open letter saying that they are going to be building the stadium in Arlington Heights. So I would say it's pretty much a done deal at this point, that the Bears are moving to Arlington Heights. So with that, they're going to be looking for either a mega project bill passed by the legislature, or a, what was the thing they called it? In lieu of taxes. Pilot. Payment in lieu of taxes. Yes, that's what they heard was, pilot. And then, so we'll see what happens. One of the things that's being actually pushed to see if we can get through in the fall would be legislation with regards to the FOIAs, Freedom of Information Act requests that are being sent to bodies through AI. And that happens to our district. We get a lot of AI requests that then bog down the system. So hopefully we can get that passed through legislature where they can limit the AI and only have it respond to real people. And then EdRed is having its yearly kickoff meeting on the 20th, where we're going to hopefully talk about the goals for next year, for legislative goals. Some of the stuff that I was actually kind of asking them to do would be TIP reforms, having taxing bodies have some representation in the TIF process, since we get impacted by it. Whereas right now we really don't have a lot of input. It's mostly all just through the villages or the cities where the TIFs are. Another one would be funding for mandated categoricals. So districts get funding for things that are actually mandated by the legislature. And then one of the other things is staffing and recruitment, retention of staff through legislation that would make it easier for teachers to move into the state, let their credentials transfer, things like that. And then also one of the things would be what we talked about, here today would be property tax delays. Is there any way we can have some accountability for property tax delays? So we'll see what comes out of it, but hopes are high always every year when we start new. And that's about it.
Good one.
Great, thank you, Frank. 1-5 Foundation, Eric?
Yeah, I talked with Adriana. We had the first meeting back the day after our last board meeting on the 14th. They stated their goals for this upcoming year and wanted to reemphasize that any info about the organization is now linked in with the district website, which is very exciting. But they talked about their teacher mini grants, which she wanted me to let everyone know that are open until early November. They also have their 50/50 raffle and staff tributes, which are happening later in the year. And Oktoberfest is coming up next weekend, so they're working with the Rotary now to see if they need some more volunteers. That's the 19th to the 21st in Town Square. They also have a candy crawl at Falcon Park that they're waiting on more info. We should know a little bit more about that at their next meeting, which is next Thursday, the 18th. Okay.
All right, thank you, Eric. Finance Committee, Linda and Lisa.
I think we can all contribute to the Finance Committee meeting this month, because we all had the pleasure of having Diana talk to us about the FY26 budget. So thank you so much. But you guys have heard everything that we all talked about. Thank you for the staff for looking at the budget and saying we are going to talk about that, and we are going to work to come to a common consideration for the district. So thank you so much. We're still going to work on the budget. The work doesn't stop.
I would add to that we're pretty close to where it's going to stop for fiscal year 26, but you're absolutely right. We need to bring that number way down for fiscal year 27. That planning is happening now. If it's going to be related to staff reductions like we've had in the past, we want to have all of those decisions made well in advance, and really January would be our target in terms of letting anybody know those plans. All right.
All right, Equity Committee, Zubair and Jim.
Jim and I met with Renee, our advanced chief, to talk about the new equity continuums tools that are connected to the Illinois report card put out by the Illinois State Board of Education. It's very comprehensive look into the equity, performances by all the districts throughout the state. It's very comprehensive, pretty impressive stuff. Just that it's getting that type of attention. We looked at how our schools, we had the data for 2023, that was the latest data we had from them, and see how our data is, and we see that we've done, we've made a lot of progress in, they have different categories on the state level, but what was interesting to me also is just how some of the data on the state level does kind of correspond to some of the things we had talked about on our strategic plan and the equity components of that, and how which of our categories connect with the state categories, and that was helpful with Renee explaining that. I think we're doing a better job in elevating educators in terms of equity, a little less so on the student learning, but getting better as time goes on. But so it was good to see the progress being made and how everything is really being kept track of now, much more than it ever was, 10 years ago.
And just to highlight that our district presented also, right, in Bloomington Normal.
Yes.
There's an opportunity to present this information too. The presentation was like Zubair said, really impressive information, and it's right there in front of you, right? I mean, it really highlights everything, all the work that's been done, all the growth that we've made, and really just what needs to be done. It was really a great presentation, and really just highlights everything all the work that still needs to happen, but also all the work that has been done. It's been really quite amazing. So really kudos to you guys and congratulations on a great presentation. It really went really well.
Being asked to speak, on behalf of ISB, being tapped by ISB to share our work is an honor once, but then they did it again. So I think, they're going to put Renee on a circuit.
Yeah.
Because the story we have to tell is a good one. It's something to be very proud of.
Congratulations.
All right, moving on to action items. Item 10.1, may I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the personnel report recommendations for administration, certified and non-certified staff members as presented.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Taylor.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Backman.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Hader.
Aye.
Honorino.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item 10.2, press.
I move to approve the second reading of Press 118, Part 2, as presented.
Second. All right, discussion? Do you want to highlight anything about the Olympic piece? Was that one?
No, we'll put the policy in. I was waiting, I decided to wait until all the villages had their language, and then I was gonna align ours.
Okay, that way. Awesome. Just want to make sure on that. Okay. All right, roll call.
Shupai.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Backman.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Hader.
Aye.
Honorino.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item 10.3.
I move to approve the 2024 to 2025 administrator and teacher salary and benefits report as presented.
Second. Discussion. All right, roll call.
Khan.
Aye.
Backman.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Hader.
Aye.
Honorino.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye. All right, item 10.4. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the amendment to the 2025 to 2026 Chief Communications Officer Employment Contract as presented.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Backman.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Hader.
Aye.
Honorino.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item 10.5, FY26 budget.
I move to approve the adoption of the fiscal year 2026 budget as presented.
Second. All right, discussion. Just reiterating the appreciation to all the different team members who played a huge role and had to make some really hard choices. So thank you for the collaboration. All right, roll call.
Hunt.
Aye.
Hader.
Aye.
Honorino.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Backman.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item 10.6.
This one you have to read all the title. 10.6 is the approval of the resolution.
Oh, you have to read the whole title. Okay, got it.
Read the whole.
For this one, okay.
Yeah.
All right, item 10.6, approval of resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed 25 million taxable tax anticipation warrants in anticipation of the collection of taxes levied for the year 2024 by the Board of Education of the district for educational and bond and interest purposes, and authorizing the sale of said warrants to the purchaser thereof. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed 25 million taxable tax anticipation warrants in anticipation anticipation of the collection of taxes levied for the year 2024 by the Board of Education of the district for educational and bond and interest purposes, and authorizing the sale of said warrants to the purchaser thereof as presented.
Second.
All right, discussion.
I was just gonna just reiterate, just for the non-budget minded people in the community, that the reason that we're doing this is not a budget error or anything on the district's part. This is that the county has not paid us. Simply stated, that this is, we're waiting on money and we have to do this in the meantime. Is that a fair, simplified statement of why we're borrowing money?
Mail those tax bills.
The county has not sent out the tax bills, so they have not paid us. This is not something that we did or didn't do. Okay.
Thank you. All right, and any other further discussion? All right, roll call.
Ader.
Aye.
Anarino.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Backman.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item 10.7, approval of resolution loaning funds.
I move to approve the resolution loaning funds from the district's educational fund to the district's transportation fund as presented.
Second.
All right, discussion? Okay, roll call.
Anarino.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Backman.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Ader.
Aye. All right, item 11, consent calendar. Would anyone like to remove anything from the consent calendar? No? All right, may I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the consent calendar items as presented.
Second. Discussion? No discussion. All right, roll call.
Taylor.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Backman.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Ader.
Aye.
Anarino.
Aye.
All right, correspondence?
As usual, we've received a number of FOIAs that keep Jamie quite busy. Any questions on what's been submitted?
No? No. Great. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.